So, in today's topic, I want to talk about military intelligence in terms of how do you turn somebody to become a slave, right? How do you do it in the modern day, in the modern day society, without whips, without compartmentalized shackles of physical form, right? Because you can enslave somebody just by the thoughts and their actions, which is extreme intelligence, honestly. If you look, I'm going to give you a perfect example of actual uh, evidence and actual real life subjects that is nearly impossible to deny the evidence of psychological as well as physical and mental compartmentalization of an individual's own slavery through psychosis and brainwashing and things like that. So I wrote you a perfect diagram behind me. You have military intelligence here, and then they have couples, right? Which is like mom, dad, well, actually, dad, mom, and two kids, right? When this specific individual gets shipped out internationally, this subject here is basically compartmentalized and subject to controlling and maintaining community level organizations, which is usually the church, which is one of the top places for Pentagon operations when it comes to community organizations and stuff like that. And on the ground intelligence gathering. Usually, the Jehovah Witness are really active in Florida. They can find your phone number, they can find your addresses, they will send you personal letters, and they will add you on your phone as well to try to get in touch with you to recruit you into the church. Now, since this church is subject to military operation, this lady right here is subject to mind control operations through her community, right? So this lady is compartmentalized by the church in order to be a test subject for psychological warfare and slavery of the community, right? Because there's multiple franchises looking to hire individuals who are able to work, right? It's in between, they're targeting people in between the age of 18 to 30. Those are the age where a person's going to do whatever it takes in order to sustain either family, or they're just going to do whatever it takes in order to get a car, in order to get a house, in order to impress this person right here, right? Now, for my situation was a little bit more brutal because they were right on my face, honestly, and they were not very shy about hiding everything. They were just very open with me, and that kind of spooked me out a little. But this subject right here was able to pinpoint the target that was basically me. That I have actual evidence on my social media account, because the church was able to pinpoint my social media metadata, that they have like a database inside the NSA that can give you a live position of a specific individual, what he's doing with his life, and what can the government do in order to change that subject to become what they wish for that specific person to become, instead of a person technically struggling, right? So like if you're struggling single and you're lost, which is majority of the guys who are in between the age gap of 19 to 20 and 30, like a lot of guys are lost. They don't have a relationship, they don't have a meaningful relationship with anybody, with their family members and stuff like that. A lot of guys get into drugs, partying, having this really degenerate lifestyle. On my side of things, because I was raised in a more like strict household, I didn't really like consume any alcohol or drugs, or I had a very like strict diet and things like that. The only reason why I gained like lots of weight was because of this um, system that was put under. And what happened is that you're not really, technically, you're never good enough. So they have these organizations in community mobbing, which is part also of really well funded federal government projects. Like if you look at, do a Google search into Citizen Corp. Citizen Corp is basically a franchise of community mobbing of a specific church in different states and counties and places like that, where they do community organizations, right? And community mobbing, community just monitoring everybody to make sure, you know, everybody has its own little place. It's almost like the Truman Show. And it's like really interesting stuff, because when I was looking at their sets of systems, their sets of community control, I was just absolutely astonished, because it's really well organized. It's involved from schools to community and counties, public school systems. It involves the city, it involves community watch, it involves like all these really interesting things, especially the school board, who monitors all the kids' psychological behavior and how they're studying and things like that. And people who are red flag in this system fall, which is the gay people. I wouldn't say that I'm a gay student, because that would put a huge target on me, but I was put into special learning because there was something extremely different about me, where I was able to pick up and study very quickly, so quickly that, you know, they couldn't keep up with me. And I wasn't technically interested in what they had to teach me to begin with, because you know, by the age of 10, I already knew the entire systematic system of control when it comes to academia. It just turns everybody into slaves. And then at the end of the day, like I had personal relationship with people who were paralegal and lawyers, and the entire housing market is basically a system that recycles families. You never really get to keep, and if when you do keep stuff and you pay for it, you're gonna be, you know, 50 or 70 trying to pay hospital health bills, and then at the end of the day you sell the house and the house gets recycled. So it's a system where you never really own anything. They just keep recycling everything over and over for the next person. And so this is where it all begins. They see you not interested in the system. They see you're not going along with the system. They see that you see what they know. They know what you know, and they know how you react. They know your behavior. They know how, they study absolute everything about you. And the only way to put you back into the system is through psychological mind control, which is brutal. You know, they were trying to recruit me back into the military. As soon as I got into high school, they were just like, you gotta be military, 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 you gotta be military. Hell, my first class in high school was military. Like, go, 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 go. And when I basically, I didn't want to be part of this. I didn't want to be a mercenary person working for the central banks, because the military works for the central banks. So I was just like, no, I don't want to be military. So military wanted me. No matter how much I rejected, military wanted me. And the only way, how do you get a person through the heart? How do you get a person through broken relationship and emotional breakdown, as well as when you basically knock a person down so much, they're willing to do whatever it takes to survive. And that's how they get you. And that's how it works, because I can show you proof of everything here. This person has a specific mission to accomplish, which is destroy him. Basically, destroy this person. Her objective is to destroy that specific person. No matter how much it hurts, you have to accomplish your objective. Your objective is to destroy the person psychologically, emotionally, and everything you can think of. And that's where you come in, right here. And then you're offered an opportunity, which I was given a really awesome opportunity. Hell, they sponsor everything for me. They gave me hotels, they sponsor me, they put me into studies, private lessons, and everything you can think of. And then I worked for like a year here, right, in order to accomplish my contract right here. I was basically a slave. I won a lawsuit for slavery right here because they give you so much, but then yeah, they take a lot from you. Like they give you a really good opportunity. Like they were trying to put me into to work for Fortune 500 companies, importing and exporting goods internationally, right? So they sponsor all my license, they sponsor everything, but the only way to really um, do that, you have to sign a contract, right? When you sign that, when you sign the contract for a year, like first you have a beautiful woman, right? Beautiful Irish women, and she has her kids, and she shows you around how beautiful everything is about Europe and her heritage and basically her entire family history. And it's just like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. Like, I want to maintain and keep these things. So that's when they come in. This person breaks you and destroys you because you're not able to either sustain a family and you're not able to sustain a relationship to begin with because you're not in the military and you're not working for Fortune 500 companies. And so your income is stuck in an income bracket where the income bracket is in between $20,000 to $50,000. That's where they keep all the slave under. And then after that, you get $250,000, which is what I was trying to accomplish in order to maintain this, right? So you have to accomplish this to maintain this, and yet you're enslaved for 5 years straight. So that's how the whole mob works. Okay, it's a mob operation. The idea is to enslave a person and with technicality and contract-based slavery, because the whole idea behind destroying you emotionally is to make you hopeful. So when they make you hopeful and they make you like they give you the illusion of like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be able to maintain like this incredible lifestyle, and this person right here is going to give me a great experience at life, right? But then this person walks away and then you're hooked, right? You're just like, shit, man, next time I better be ready, right? I got to get this contract here. I got to get my life going because I want to have this. I want this. I want family. I want this. I want this. I want that. So they give you a contract. It's almost like signing a contract with the devil. And then you work for a bunch of Fortune 500 companies as a slave. So the first one that I worked for was like they sponsor everything. They gave me hotels and everything you could think of. I won a lawsuit for slavery because they were paying me less than federal minimum wage. Could you imagine that? They keep you so broken and so hopeful, thinking that you're gonna get this, and so they enslave you for a whole year and give you all these illusions. Like they have these meetings, right? These really interesting conference calls of just like, yeah, look at all these people having beautiful lifestyles. Like this person is flying and doing backflips with a fucking jet ski. You gotta get this, man. Look at this, all these pretty white girls working for the church. Like, holy fuck, what are you doing with your life, man? Sign the contract. Your life is gonna be incredible. So you do, and then you win a lawsuit for slavery that I did. It was like over $35 million lawsuit that we won. And I got, basically a little bit of it, not too much, like, because there was so many other people who was under the system. It was not just me. It was entire communities in all 50 states. So they're able to pack a bunch of people through metadata and then enslave a whole group of people that way. And then we won a $55,000 lawsuit for that. And then the second year, you are contracted with a bunch of Freemasons. I would call them basically they offer you better opportunity, right? Because you didn't make that much money here, but they offer you a much better opportunity. They're just like, bro, I can't believe you were doing that, but you had to finish your contract and you were loyal, because if you weren't, we were going to charge you what? The license and the contract, the total was $20,000 for the license, right? So if you breach the contract, you have to pay that out of pocket. So when you do sign it, you're hooked. If you get out of there, you got to pay out of pocket $20,000 for your license. So the second one, once you accomplish your license, working as a slave, like a pure slavery, and you have to train other people as well, because they don't have enough people training. So, and they give you a little raise for training. So when you get when you go through the second stage, they offer you, they offer me great opportunity. Like they offer me like Walmart, Hershey's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, everybody, they all get together. They're just like, yeah, we're Fortune 500 companies and we're here to help and we're here for this and this and this and that. We're Walmart, we're distributing for all 50 states. You're the guy we want for, you're the man. You want that pretty British or Irish girl, right? You want that perfect family? Second contract will work for us, and then they offer you $75,000 a year, and you're just like, shit, I want $75,000 a year. I don't got much going on. They pay for housing and everything you can think of, everything. And so you're just like, oh, I don't have any bills. I'm a young guy. I'm on my 20s, and it's just like, shit, man, this sounds way too good to be true. And then on your second stage, they offer you $75,000 a year, but then after taxes, you get like $30,000 to $20,000 for that whole year of slavery, which is like brutal overnight slavery. And so when you talk to your accountant is just like, well, what the fuck? Where did all your money go to? And you're just like, I was so depressed. I was drinking, basically. Like I was just so you're alienated and depressed, hopeful, basically, thinking that you're gonna get this right here. So then you move to a third stage contract where they're just like, you got to sign this contract with us. You're going to be working with, like, I was working in DC, right, for a bunch of private contractors out of different people that was working for the government. Like they were renewing all the Pentagon housing for military personnel, and they wanted people that they could trust, right? And so in order to ship anything in there, because these guys are monitoring you 24 hours a fucking day. Like they have to know where the hell you're going, who you're communicating with 24 hours a day. It's just like, this person is doing this at all times. So your third contract, you're working as a private contractor over there in DC and Virginia. And that's when you're subjected to horrifying psychological warfare. Virginia, you don't want to live in Virginia. That's the headquarters of the CIA. You don't want to live in Virginia. They're going to use as a test subject for a psychological warfare to see what they can get out of you. And that shit was brutal. And once again, church is involved. Church. Great way to launder as much money as possible. People know the Bible on the back of their heads, just like, brrr. Women and children are the greatest recruiting people for church, and this is why they use this system right here, where they do community mobbing through the church, especially Jehovah's Witness people. They see you alienated, they see you alone, so they start assigning couples around you. So they're just circling around you, and they're always staring at you 24 hours a day in every community to just remind you every day that you have to get this right here because you accomplished all your contracts. Like, we're here with your, with all this, just join our fucking church and you're gonna have this. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to be a slave anymore. Like, no, you guys are gonna do the same thing you did to me to begin with, where I'm gonna find a perfect European girl and then you're gonna fuck my life over and then give me an opportunity somewhere. So like, fuck you, and I don't want any of this. And then the fifth stage is where I was able to cheat the system, right? Because they were trying to compartmentalize and psychologically push me into a specific area. And I was just like, no. So I got in touch with a bunch of people that had access to, they audit banks, right? International banks. And I was able to get out of the system of contracting because you get hooked, right? And when you try to leave, you like, to get that same pay, to get like that same opportunity elsewhere is impossible because, first of all, They pay for housing. They really take like 101% possession of your life, basically. Which is like, you don't know what's it like to basically control your own finances, because they control everything. So in the fifth stage, that's when I begun my own operation. I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna go work for Mexico over there at the border, and I'm gonna start contracting my own self. So I contracted my own name on the contract, and then I was importing a bunch of shit in and then distributing to logistics. And that's when they basically left me alone. I was running my own business. And then I was just like, holy fuck, I completely got out of that system of slavery. Like, so this is why it's really important to pay attention who you associate yourself with. If it's white, if it's beautiful, and you're black or brown, stay the fuck away from that shit. Mockingbird operation and psychological warfare is not for you. White girls are not for brown dudes. Stay away from that shit. They masterminded it. These people here at the Pentagon, they mastermind a way to enslave you. Okay, it is 101% effective. 101% effective. Okay, if they want you, they will get you no matter what. And if they can get you through your academia, they are going to get you through your broken heart relationship, which is like the worst way imaginable. Okay, stay the fuck away from Europeans. You don't want that shit in your life. Stay the fuck away. I look at a white girl or anywhere else, or anytime I see those Jehovah Witness people walking around, I get a panic attack. Seriously, I get a fucking panic attack. Stay the fuck away from these people. And that's how they do it. It's organized community mobbing and slavery. And that's how they operate here. And, I wrote like a huge map and stuff like that. And it's really effective. And then I got in touch, because when I was working in Virginia, you get in touch with a bunch of military people, right? And on the weekends, you talk to a lot of military people that work for the government. And I was sharing all this information with this guy, and he's just like, yeah, well, that's how they operate, basically. And just stay the fuck away from it. And it's just like, just stay the fuck away from it. Just stay the hell away from it. And it's impossible, because you get hooked on everything, right? Like, you don't have any bills, you don't have anything, you just got money and just counting dollars. And the whole reason behind this is because you're alienated. First of all, you're not calling anybody, you don't have any friends, and you don't have any family members. So the idea is to find a perfect subject who isn't going to be talking too much. And this is like the whole purpose about this, is just sharing this knowledge, where they find perfect subjects, people who is willing to work, like, and people like able bodies, right? People who aren't lazy, people who are mentally strong and physically strong and intelligent. Those are 3 characteristics that they're looking for. Me, I was a perfect subject. Why was I a perfect subject? Because I can wake up at any time. I can change my sleep cycle at any time given. I can work overnight without an issue, and I can work and pick up really heavy shit. I can pick up over 150,000 pounds overnight working for like 12 months straight, and basically just do what needs to be done and to be accomplished. It's just like my patterns of thinking and the way I operate is just like, I know how to control even my own sleep if I wanted to. So if I want to, be awake all night and then sleep in the morning, I can do that. And then if I want to change the next day, I can do that as well. It's just like I can flip my sleep schedule. I can sleep just fine. I have no sleep issues, or I have zero health problems, which is another big thing. A lot of people have bone structure issues. A lot of people have back problem. A lot of people have everything. And so they look for perfect people to do the job that needs to be done. And that's how they got me, like, boom, through broken relationships. This right here, stay the fuck away from church people. Stay away from Jehovah Witness people. Stay away from Europeans. Stay the fuck away from Europeans. Uh, and that's how this whole thing works, basically. Like every now and then, man. Like the other day, I was sitting in a fucking restaurant, and I was just eating, right? Just eating, and then this waitress, this European waitress, she was like cleaning the table next to me. Like I had such a fucking panic that I got up and I was about to walk out of the fucking restaurant without paying. Like that's how traumatized I am because of psychological warfare, and they keep you alienated, and basically you're never good enough. So they keep pushing you because you're never good enough. Like you're not good enough, not good enough. And they have all these girls rejecting you at bars, right? You talk to people at bars, and it's all compartmentalized, especially in Virginia. Everybody's like constantly rejecting you and doing this, walking around you with couples around you, and they keep telling you you're not good enough, bro. You're not good enough. Like you gotta step up. Like you're not good enough until you get to like 5 to 10 years. Like you lose all your hair, you get really fucking stressed out, you get fat, and you get depressed and stuff like that. And then they assign you like this perfect. Like I just got out of a relationship with this girl, right? She was assigned to me. Basically Irish. This Irish girl who had like ginger hair, like beautiful, fucking beautiful girl. And then we meet at a park in Kansas, right, which is like another compartmentalized city in Kansas. And I go there, and it's just like absolute control meeting. Like everything is control, even my social media and who I interact with. Because she told me, like, once again, the same fucking story. A girl who just had a broken relationship with an ex-military guy who's going through family struggles, and then it's the same fucking shit. Same story as the first one, but this time is different. And they know you're depressed, they know you don't want to work anymore, they know all of this, so they assign these fucking girls again. And it's impossible. It's possible to reject, because it's like it's been 6 to 5 years that you're alienated and isolated to shit, right? And it's just like you don't know how to talk to anybody, you don't know how to interact with anyone, and you don't know how to basically talk to anybody because you've been compartmentalized in a system of control through force, through psychological force, where you're subjected to this if you don't follow along with the system. And that's how it operates, how to enslave a person through psychological warfare and broken relationships. And it's absolutely perfect. It's the most perfect system I have ever witnessed in my whole life. The psychology of everything, especially guys, you're not going to have a family. Not on the 21st century. Fortune 500 companies sponsor military. Fortune 500 companies sponsor military. Never forget that. Fortune 500 companies sponsor military. Fortune 500 companies sponsor military. When they get information about you, this is what's going to happen to you. When they figure out when you do your blood tests at the hospitals, or when they see that you're able body and they see that you're a perfect subject, stay the hell away from relationships. It is going to be, if you're 18 to 20, stay the fuck away from relationships. Just stay away from that place, because that's how they got a bunch of soldiers to go fight overseas in Iraq, and that's how they do the same shit. They do the same shit in high school, where you got brand new people, beautiful relationships, and they're just like, fuck, I gotta join the military, otherwise I won't be able to take care of my girlfriends and have a family, right? So you're gonna have to kill a bunch of fucking Muslims overseas in order to accomplish the American dream, right? So in order to fly around and basically have boats and cars and all these fancy military benefits. Sounds really good, right? So this thing right here becomes a test subject for the military. A single mother with 2 kids recycles the whole system over and over. Just recycling that shit over and over. So that's how they get like majority of Americans to join either the military or join really important places in Fortune 500 companies that I was part of. And it's great, you know, it's like fucking great. And the psychology of everything is absolutely beautiful, man. Just absolutely beautiful, because you are basically compromised in a way where it's just like, fuck, you know, everybody's having a great life, and it's just like, I want to have that for myself, right? I want to have something better. I want to travel. I want to do all these things. And then it's just like, it's never good enough. You got to join the military or the Fortune 500 companies and be a slave. And then you start learning about franchises, how franchises sponsor like all these defense contractors and stuff like that. And I was working for the bunch of defense contractors here in Florida as well. And that wasn't good enough. That was not good enough at all. Then I was working in Virginia, and that wasn't good enough. And then I started my own company. That wasn't good enough. And so I get assigned another Irish girl to make me believe that, you know, I had to be good enough. I had to be good enough. I had to be good enough, bro. So now I'm creating my own fucking metaverse online. I know the entire sets of algorithms of different programming languages. I speak 5 fucking languages. Literally, I speak 5 languages. I speak multiple computer languages. I am a bookworm and everything else like that, because I wasn't good enough to have what they offer me. So you push yourself to the very fucking limit. It's just like, I gotta know. You become a CEO like I did. You become a computer programmer, an expert in computer programming and engineering. I created my own fucking metaverse. You become the absolute best of the best. Like, you become almost like a fucking super soldier, or you're just like, I'm not good enough. I have to keep going. I have to keep pushing this shit. And you just start reading a bunch of fucking books about everything. So I speak 5 languages. I have multiple fucking passports. I speak multiple computer languages. I used to be a network engineer in Miami. And, you know, I just every fucking thing. I used to detail private, you know, $5 billion private jets in Fort Lauderdale for all these fucking private contractors to fly around in Cuba and shit like that. And I detail everything, even the the latest 747 cabinets that they have these massive warehouses in Washington State, where I was working with the engineering crew, where it's just like, hey guys, you know, I'm putting all of this together, and just give me the blueprints of it, and I'll just put all of this together. And that was my job. I was like detailing the entire private jet myself, the entire Airbus's entire commercial airliners and everything else like that. And it's never good enough. 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 Basically, you're just working trying to get this whole time, right? You're just like burning yourself to death trying to get this right here, which is like a perfect little family, perfect this, perfect that, perfect this. And it's just like, it's just brutal, absolute freaking brutal. The psychology of mind control. If you're like a pure person, if you don't do any drugs, if you don't drink alcohol, if you take care of your health, if you're constantly exercising, taking care of your body, and when you're like at the 18-year-old and you're not hooking up with a bunch of people where they try to assign you, like, and you're just like on that age of just like, oh, you know, I gotta have fun. Me, it was different. Like, my mindset, I came straight out of special classes, special school for basically special students class and stuff like that. I wasn't able to, like, I couldn't deal with other people at all. Just, I can't be around like sets of people, because they're just very limited intelligently. Like, they're not, like, they fall into the categories of sins, of like the 10 deadly sins, which is narcissism, which is the biggest problem in America. It's narcissism, gossip, jealousy, and basically everybody just constantly in that group mentality. And you can see like they're all just one set of ideology. It's like they fall through the same mainstream bullshit, which is like everything that's inside mainstream media. That's all they know, and that's all they talk about. If you see people, watching football and sports, that's all they know and that's all they talk about. Me, I was like completely outside that system. I was like teaching myself how to basically do everything. And I was basically like studying computer engineering at a really young age. I became a network engineer. I have pictures of it here. And at the age of 16, we had like a hacktivist groups online where we actually access every single computer system all over the world through the BusyBox exploits that we found, the zero-day exploits that became extremely popular. And my friends that all got contracted by AT&T, which is a Fortune 500 company, in order to destroy Bell South. And the day when people were using dial-up services, we would go in, a bunch of kids, intelligent kids, we would go in and access hundreds of different types of BusyBox all over the world, and we would create a denial of service attack on all the customers that were using dial-up back in the day, in order to switch everybody to go to digital and cable. And that's where AT&T became like a Fortune 500 company and destroyed and bought up Bell South that way. And that's where government came in with the NSA, and they sought me and my logs online, and they were just like, we gotta push this guy outside this shit, outside this criminality. So I get assigned this right here in order to become this right here and become that right there. So that's what happens, man. It's just, if you are a creative person, if you're intelligent, and if you're outside the system, you have to maintain your silence. Maintain your silence. Don't talk too much about the things that, and don't do too much. Stay away from like things that involves anything to do with criminality or anything else like that. Because if they can get you, they will find a way. And when they can find a way, it's going to hurt really bad. It's going to hurt really, really bad. And the girl doesn't exist. Like the pie doesn't exist. Okay. There's nobody waiting for you out there. You're going to be compromised and emotionally destroyed to become a CEO. Okay. And don't fall for the traps of psychological warfare, and stay the hell away from the church. If you need to study the Bible, pick up the Bible like I did. I never set a foot in the church. I know the Bible. I read the Bible. I studied the Bible. I have my own metaverse. I created my own world inside 3D and VR that has everything to do with navigating through the historical places in the Bible. So stay the hell away from the Bible, and not the Bible, but the church basically. But study the Bible as much as possible. Sorry about that, I mixed words, but just stay away from church, because as soon as a terrorist attack happens, your priest is going to be talking about, it's okay to kill, go kill as many people. And the Bible tells you a completely different side of story. So it's just like, ooh. So, yeah, man, this is what all these videos about. I just finished my perfect relationship with my Irish girl. She did exist at the end of the day. But it was one of those circumstances was I wasn't good enough. It's always like that. So it's the same story. It's just funny because they never changed the story. Maybe that was the joke. Maybe that was the joke. That you're not good enough, and you just like, fuck. I know 5 languages. I speak. I can write multiple computer languages. Like, I'm a CEO. I can import and export everything from Fortune 500 companies. Like, fuck. Last year I made $250,000. Like, I work with multiple hedge fund managers and different stock market indexes and futures market and stuff like that. I even did some option tradings multiple times and made some money, and it's just like not good enough, not good enough. It's just like you got to become a millionaire. And I was actually looking into becoming like a multi-billionaire, right? And I was looking at closing futures contract within the Chicago Stock Exchange, but they basically have a limit on how you can close a contract for futures market, and you have to have at least $5 million of insurance policy and secure storage locations for closing on a specific futures commodity, right? So as a person I run my own logistics, and I have like my own equipments and everything I can think of, and I was just like, if I really want to step up and like try to make that $10 million a year, I would need at least get like just trade as much options as possible, and it's like really difficult because it's really risky. Or I can do long-term IRA investments and real estate investment, which is really shitty right now, and then try to get the $5 million to get the minimal deposit to trade futures contract and things, stuff like that, in order to start trading my own commodities into multiple franchises, and then have my own logistics that way. But that's way too much because I have to deal with commercial insurances, I have to deal with transportation, the DOT, and all these other. I have to deal with like a billion things, and it's just like, maybe I wasn't good enough for now, but if I do all of these things that I talked about, I'm gonna be good enough, right? It's just like I have to stop, basically, So this is where this comes in, right? This is where it comes in, which is this right here. I have a passport. I have a Brazilian passport, and I have this passport as well, which is like you have to give them the middle finger. Be like, no, walk away from the Fortune 500 companies, and then get in contact with multiple embassies in Miami, especially if you have this right here, which is a Brazilian passport. They have contracts with the BRICS, which is China, Russia, India, and all these other places internationally, and try to do international import with multiple nation states, because since I have this right here, I have access to the BRICS international commodity exchanges, and then I can import it using this into the US. And so maybe that's my whole goal. My whole goal right now might be going internationally and start doing commodity trade, importing stuff inside the US. And because I speak 5 languages, and I have like really good connections and stuff like that. But that's how they operated on me, and I really don't want to do all that. I'm just tired of getting assigned people. I'm just really tired of the abuses, the psychological abuse of intelligent people, basically. I would say the best course I can tell you right now, if you have this special child in your household, homeschool that person and keep them away from social media so that nobody's doing metadata extraction of that specific individual, so that he can live a healthy lifestyle. Because once you expose yourself, this is what your child is going to be subjected to, and you don't want to be a subject of this. And it's just abusive, honestly. It's a very, very abusive, because you're like, I can show you my Facebook account. It's just like pictures of me from back in 2008. It's just pictures of me all the way up till now. It's just selfies of me for like 30 years straight. Like just pure selfies of me. No friendship, no relationships, no nothing. Never good enough. Like, you gotta keep pushing yourself. Like, bro, just keep going. Like, you got this. And that's how this works, man. That's how this whole thing works, man. It's just like, now I know the entire stock market on the back of my head. Now I know exactly what's going on inside the country. Now I know who's importing what and who's doing what. Like now I know every single wells in fucking Texas that export petroleums and shit like that. Like now I have the entire political establishment of systematic abuses of political promises and shit like that I know on the back of my head. I know every single insider trading information you can think of. And it's just like you study, you study, you study, you study, you study, and it's never good enough. And it's just like, because you have to have money, like you have to have like lots and lots of money to be happy to have this year. To have this year. And you forget about your life. And that's how compartmentalized mind control operates inside the United States of America with Europeans and the military industrial complex and Fortune 500 companies. And I hope you can take this information and learn from it, because it is abuse, is not right, and it's a system of volunteer through pressure, of peer pressure, especially women, and it is financial abuse, and it destroys and steals the life away from you. And so I got my passport here. And now I was just looking at my sub pay, right? My contract. They actually pay me $20,000 in just 2 weeks of work because they know I got my passport. So it's just like, hey, come back, come back, come back. Here's $20,000. And you know, it's just like now I'm just like, man, I don't care about money anymore. Honestly, it's just like. I just had a hedge fund manager, like they're trying to close a contract with me right now. Like they are willing to pay $50,000 to do all this app development and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, I know coding. I know how to develop apps. I know how to develop metaverses. I know how to develop all these things. I can speak 5 fucking languages. And it's just like, I'm just tired of all this bullshit, you know, I'm just pretty tired. And I have enough money to just sit. And it's just like I don't want to do that here anymore because every time I see couples, every time I see women, I get a panic attack because I feel like I was never good enough, you know, like just it is psychological abuse. Like I don't know how to talk to women. Like you become so alienated that you forget how to talk to people. So it's like it's psychological abuse at the end of the day, but be very cautious being a gay student, and be very cautious if you figure out if your child is a little bit off when he's going through school, because you either teach him to go alone or this is what's going to happen to you. And it's really sad, man. It's really, really sad, honestly. It's really sad, man. It's just... And then sometimes you get that guilt of just like, well, you know, you became like almost like a super person. And it's just like, but was it worth it? It's just like, could you imagine you spent like 30, 40 years of your life becoming like something extreme of you just to achieve the accomplishments of having a family? Could you imagine how sad that is? And you watch all your friends getting married and all these other things, and it's just like, but you're never good enough. It's just like you got to keep pushing yourself, and it's basically psychological torture at the end of the day, and there's not much you can do about it because it's really organized criminality. And really, really well organized. And so this is what I have to say. You know, I really like my other relationship, my past relationship. It's like they knew exactly how to assign her to me as well. Like it was just so perfect how they assigned her to me. It was just incredible. They use everything all at the same time. They make you patient. They make you wait. Like they made me wait 3 days in order to meet this person. So you wait for 3 days and then they test you multiple times psychologically on your cell phone, and then you meet at you meet that specific person at a really secure area where everything's control, everything around you is control. And then what happened is that you meet that person, and then this girl is just like, yeah, we can, I'm here, like this beautiful Irish, ginger girl, and she's just like, yeah, I'm here, but we can only like do this like once. And it's just like, what the fuck? And so like you're alienated and all these shit happens, and it's just like, fucking hell, man. And then you take your chances, and then she runs away, and then you're not good enough. And then she tells you you're not good enough. And then comes another opportunity. A fucking hedge fund manager contacts me to develop me, the next generation of apps and Wall Street softwares, and everything just comes right at you. And you get all these beautiful offers because you're trying to get that beautiful Irish blonde girl who doesn't exist, and you gotta develop a bunch of shit. And it's just like, I'm gonna develop, I have to finish because that's my goal. And I already created the metaverse. I already created a bunch of complex sets of algorithms and a bunch of graphic design, all sorts of really cool stuff. And that's how mind control works, man. You don't want to be subject of gates, and you don't want to be subject to special learning and fit in with the rest of society. Be retarded as much as possible. Be as retarded as possible. Don't show any signs of intelligence, because you will be subject to extreme limits in your life. And basically you become something that isn't human, which is like you become like a person without emotions, basically, which is like you completely destroy anything to do with the 10 deadly sins in life, which is like you become a person who's just 101% strict with your life, right? You become a person who's just like, when you see somebody gossiping, you know what their purpose is, and you know exactly what they're thinking. When a person is narcissistic, you know what they are. When you see like a person who's psychopath, you know who they are. When you see reverse psychology, liars, and all these other things, you know who they are. And the best reactions you can do, what I was taught through all these other things that happened to me, is that you just maintain your silence and just go along with it, and just let these people fool themselves, and then you alienate yourself away from these people. And that's how psychology works. That's how slavery works in the 21st century. And it is some of the most sophisticated systems I was ever part of. And I'm not good enough. Not good enough. It's fucking awesome, man. Fucking awesome. I almost became a fucking pilot. Almost became a pilot because I wasn't good enough. I can actually become a pilot if I wanted to, but that's not going to accomplish anything. I'm just going to prove to myself that I can become, because I just got $20,000. And it's just like, man, I can literally just buy a book right now and become a pilot for fun. Like literally, I can become a single-age pilot and just for fun. I don't even have to go to ground school. Like I can literally just get the book and start reading and do the walk around, and then do the first flight test and stuff like that. Because I was around pilots a lot in my entire life, so I know exactly what I'm doing. And I went through like a bunch of flights and stuff like that. But if I do that, and it's just like, I don't want to prove to myself. I know I'm already good enough. Like, so it's just, I know that if I get in the stock market, I can start shorting everything and make a bunch of money. And it's just like, but that's just going to lead me exactly what they want me to be. It's just like, I know what they're trying to do. Like, and I know money is absolutely fake. You know, just the entire setup system is just, the whole system is fake. Like, and it's crazy, man. So on the top of it all, you get torture, like really, really bad, like really bad torture, like because you're young, you're naive, and you don't know what you're doing, and it's just like you become extremely tortured, like torture to the absurd, and you learn how to control yourself that way. You learn about how to control anger, you know how to control anxiety, you know how to control depression, you know how to control, you become a person that they create, which is a super person, which is like, you see it, you can identify it, you can pinpoint, you know how to control yourself. Like, you become a person who's just like if somebody does something to you, you know what they're trying to accomplish, and you know what the sets of mind patterns and mind games they're trying to play with you, especially when you're working for Fortune 500 companies, and they fire you from one contract to see your reaction, and then they contract you elsewhere to see your reaction, and then they fire you from that place and they give you another contract elsewhere, and then they just move you around like that, just like, and they start teaching you to be passive. Like, you get fired from one place, and then it's like, okay, control it, and then you get hired in another place and you're happy, and then you get fired from that place, and then you control it, and you get happy on the other place, and they control it. And it's just like, you become feasible when it comes to like, oh, you know, they're just moving you, but fucking with you psychologically. And you know, you get food reimbursed, you get everything reimbursed, and it's just, you think you're going to be part of something much bigger, which is true, you can, but at the end of the day, you forget who you are, because you're just a commodity, technically. Like, you're just an extreme intelligent person, like, which is pretty brutal, honestly. But I don't know how I'm gonna deal with myself. I got my passport. I trying to contact some kind of psychiatrist in South America and see. I have to basically teach myself how not to have a panic attack around women, basically. So that's where I'm at right now. And the worst part of it all is the Irish girl was telling me that I'm lusting. Like, how the fuck am I lusting after 10 years of isolation? And this is the church and military. Like, you become extreme religious. Like, they're trying to make you a saint out of you. And it's just like, no alcohol, no drugs, no women, nothing. And when you do see somebody after you're really depressed, they assign you a person who keeps telling you that you're lusting anytime you look at her. And so they try to control your lust that way. Like, you have to stop lusting. You have to stop lusting. And it's just like, I've been isolated for a long time. Like, how do I stop lusting? And it's just like, just be more of a saint, like, and it's just like, start walking on water or some shit like that. So, basically, I just got my passport in, and I got $20,000, and I'm just gonna go to South America. I speak 5 languages, so I can go anywhere. I can go to Germany, I can go to Portugal, I can go to Spain, and try to get some kind of help, basically, because I have to stop having anxiety attacks around women, especially Europeans and shit like that. I have to get away from this shit right here. Just get away from this, because it's abuse, and it's just, you become a super soldier, basically.